The Things We Didn't Say. Chapter 1. They sat at opposite ends of the bar, pretending they were strangers. Evelyn traced the rim of her glass. Mark studied the labels on the bottles. Daniel watched them both, knowing silence was more dangerous than words. Nobody spoke. Nobody had to. The damage was already done. The bar was small, the kind built for confessions no one should make. The wood was chipped and the lights hung low, soft as tired sighs. Outside, the autumn wind swept leaves across the sidewalk, restless and determined. Inside, the music was old jazz, slow and lonely. It suited the night. Evelyn hadn't planned to come. Not really. She was passing through town, returning home after 30 years away. That was the story she told. The truth held more weight, and she could feel it in her chest. She kept her coat on like she might escape at any moment. But she didn't leave. Mark knew she wouldn't. He had known her once, known the way she hesitated before decisions, known how she carried regret like a second spine. He lifted his glass, took a drink, and tried not to remember. Failing was easy. Daniel didn't remember her. Not fully. He only knew her by reputation, spoken in passing conversations at the university. He was younger than the other two, though not young. Early 60s, aging well. A widower without children, and with too much time to notice other people's storms. He had heard Mark say her name once, the way a man says something priceless he can't afford anymore. The bartender wiped down the counter and looked at them. His eyes were curious, but he stayed quiet. He'd seen tension like this before. Unresolved, coiled, fragile. He didn't want to be part of whatever would unfold. Evelyn took a small sip of wine. It tasted dry, familiar. "Is it always this quiet?" she asked. Her voice traveled across the room and landed near Mark like a forgotten letter. He felt it hit him. He didn't turn. Daniel smiled. "Depends on who walks in." "That's so," she said. "Most nights," Daniel replied. "This one feels different." Mark closed his eyes. He wished he could disappear into the glass. He wished he were a simpler man, untouched by old stories. But life didn't grant wishes like that. Evelyn looked at him. "Hello, Mark." He finally turned. Evelyn. Her name sounded heavy. Not angry. Not bitter. Just weighted by years neither could rewrite. Daniel straightened on his stool. "So you two know each other?" Evelyn nodded. "A long time ago." Mark added. "Another lifetime." Silence followed. Not awkward, worse. It carried history. Evelyn eased out a breath. "I didn't expect to run into you. You came back to the town with only 4 places to drink," Mark said. "You expected something." She almost smiled. "Fair." Daniel glanced between them. He sensed the shape of the story but not its boundaries. "You from here?" he asked Evelyn. "Born and raised," she said. "Left after college. Thought the world would be kinder elsewhere." "And was it?" Daniel asked. She paused. "At times." Mark let out a short laugh. "At times. That sounds like you." Evelyn looked down. "People don't change as much as they think." "No," Mark said. "They don't." Daniel felt like he'd stumbled into an unfinished play. "Do either of you want another drink?" Evelyn shook her head. "I should go soon. Long drive tomorrow." Mark stared at her coat, still buttoned. "Where to?" "Chicago." He nodded. "Always liked that city." "You hated that city," she said. "Still liked it." Their eyes met. It was quick but undeniable. Daniel sensed a door opening in the room. "If you two want some space, I can." "No," Evelyn said, too fast. "Stay." Mark wondered why she said it. Habit or hope? The bartender changed the record. A trumpet eased into the air, soft and mournful. The night responded by growing smaller, as if listening too. Evelyn shifted in her seat. "How long has it been?" 28 years, Mark said. Daniel whistled under his breath. "That's not recent." "No," Mark said. "It isn't." "You keeping track?" Evelyn asked. "Only because time insists on reminding me." She let his words sit between them. "You look good." He raised an eyebrow. "For someone who failed at everything?" "That's not what I meant." "It's still true." Daniel cleared his throat. "Maybe not everything." Mark shrugged. "Depends on who tells the story." Evelyn looked around the room. as if searching for a way to change subjects. Town hasn't changed much. It resists progress, Mark said. Like an old dog refusing new tricks. Daniel nodded. Sometimes that's comforting. Sometimes not. Evelyn turned to him. And you are? Daniel Price, he said. History department. Retiring soon. Her eyes softened. Congratulations. Not sure it's that, he said. More like an early surrender. Mark leaned back. He's the optimistic one. Evelyn smiled for the first time. It was small but real. God help us. Daniel chuckled. And you? Evelyn Carter, she said. Used to teach literature. Mostly American modernists. Then administration swallowed me whole. That sounds familiar, Daniel said. Retired now, she added. Or escaped, Mark murmured. You never liked staying still. She turned toward him again. And you did. He didn't deny it. Somebody had to. The bartender brought fresh napkins. You folks need anything? No, they said, almost together. He blinked, backed away, and left them to their ghosts. The wind outside grew louder. A gust rattled the windows. The storm wasn't here yet, but it was coming. Everyone could feel it. So, Daniel said softly, what happened between you two? Evelyn stiffened. Mark stared at his glass. Neither answered. Daniel lifted his hands. All right. None of my business. It's never none of anyone's business, Mark said. We just pretend. Evelyn whispered. Please don't. Mark looked at her. You showed up. In this town. In this bar. On a Thursday night. Evelyn, come on. She swallowed. I didn't come for you. Then why? He asked. She didn't answer. Daniel watched them with quiet interest. Maybe she wanted to see if the town still remembered her. Town remembers everything, Mark said. It's cruel that way. Evelyn stared into her wine. I thought places forgot faster than people. Not here, Mark replied. Here memory is sport. Daniel smiled. Sounds like a thesis. Sounds like a warning, Evelyn said. They fell into silence again. But now it buzzed charged. Daniel finished his drink and stood. I'm going to step outside. Get some air. You don't smoke, Mark said. Tonight I do, Daniel replied and left without waiting. When the door shut, the room shifted. Something exposed itself. Evelyn took off her coat. Slowly. Carefully. Mark watched the movement like a man afraid to blink. You look tired, she said. Age will do that, he replied. Not just age. He exhaled. Don't start. I'm not starting, she said. I'm noticing. That's worse. She set her hands flat on the bar. I heard about your marriage. Mark's jaw tightened. Not much to hear. 20 years is not nothing, she said. It was something, he admitted. Until it wasn't. She studied him. I'm sorry. He shook his head. Don't be. You didn't end it. That hit harder than she expected. No. But I left before it began. Mark let the sentence land. Yes. You did. The wind howled outside and the lights flickered. The bartender looked up, unsure if he should prepare for trouble. Evelyn lowered her voice. You were good to me, Mark. I was in love with you, he said. That's different. She closed her eyes. We were young. We were old enough to stay, he replied. She opened her eyes again. And you never forgave me. He didn't lie. No. But I wanted to. Daniel opened the door again, bringing in a rush of cold air. He saw Evelyn's coat off, Mark leaning forward, and the bartender pretending not to listen. Did I miss anything? He asked. Evelyn shook her head. Just history. Daniel sat slower than before. History has a way of repeating itself. Not this time, Mark said. Evelyn looked at him. How do you know? Because I won't let it. Daniel studied Mark. You still believe control matters. It's all any of us have, Mark replied. Or the illusion of it, Evelyn added. They held each other's gaze too long. Daniel felt it sharp and obvious. He asked, How long are you staying? Evelyn hesitated. I don't know. Mark said, You do. She didn't deny it. The clock above the bar ticked loud and slow. Each second sounded like a dare. Daniel cleared his throat. If you'd like company while you're here, I'd be happy to show you around. Town's quieter than it used to be, but still charming. Evelyn softened. That's kind. Thank you. Mark felt something tighten in his chest. Daniel, don't. Daniel raised a hand. I'm offering friendship. Nothing here has ever stayed just friendship, Mark said. Evelyn turned to him. That's not fair. It's true, he replied. Daniel looked at him. You assumed the ending before the beginning. I lived the ending, Mark said. Twice. Evelyn flinched. Daniel leaned back thoughtful. Maybe that's why she came back. Evelyn whispered. Stop. Mark stood. I should go. Evelyn reached for him. Mark. He stepped away. Good night. She watched him walk toward the door, shoulders squared, steps slow. She wanted to say something that would pull him back. She didn't know what. He paused at the exit. Don't disappear again, he said without turning. Then he left. The wind swallowed him. Evelyn stared at the empty doorway. Her eyes shimmered but no tears fell. She wasn't the crying type. Daniel spoke gently. You still love him? She didn't answer. He waited. Finally she said, I don't know what I feel. Daniel nodded. That's usually the first sign. Evelyn let out a fragile laugh. You sound like a therapist. No, he said. Just a man who has lost enough to recognize the beginning of another loss. She looked at him. Really looked. Why do you care? Daniel thought about it. Because loneliness recognizes itself in others. The record ended. The silence felt holy. Evelyn gathered her coat. I should go. Daniel stood too. Can I walk you out? She hesitated, then nodded. All right. They stepped into the night. The wind lifted her hair. The streetlights flickered in the coming storm. Somewhere in the distance, thunder murmured. Will you see him again? Daniel asked. Evelyn stared down the dark street. I didn't come here for him. That's not what I asked. She pulled her coat tighter. Good night, Daniel. He watched her walk away, steady, graceful, haunted. When she turned the corner, the sky opened and the rain began. Daniel stood alone beneath the awning, wondering which of them would break first. Far down the street, unseen, Mark stopped walking. He had heard her footsteps too. And tomorrow would not be simple. Chapter 2. Morning came unsure of itself, pale and exhausted from the night's storm. The rain had stopped, but the streets still glistened like something wounded. Shop signs flickered awake. Cars moved cautiously, as if afraid to disturb whatever lingered in the air. It was a small town, but that morning it felt even smaller. Evelyn sat in the hotel cafe, alone with a cup of coffee she didn't want. She stirred it anyway, watching the swirl of cream fade into the dark. She hadn't slept. Too many thoughts, too many echoes from the bar. Mark's voice. Daniel's curiosity. The town breathing like it remembered her. She wondered why she stayed. The waitress approached with a gentle smile. You look like someone deciding something big. Evelyn blinked. Do I? Everyone does in this town, the waitress said. Stormy nights change people. Evelyn almost laughed. I'm not sure anything really changes. The waitress topped off the coffee. Then you're not ready yet. Evelyn didn't know what to say, so she said nothing. Across the cafe, Daniel walked in, shaking raindrops from his coat. He looked like he'd been up early. He saw her, paused, then began walking toward her with slow, deliberate steps. Not eager, considered. Like a man weighing consequences. Morning, he said. Hi, she replied, forcing a tired smile. You're up early. Didn't sleep, he said. Storm kept knocking at the windows. Felt rude to ignore it. She appreciated the honesty. Coffee? He nodded. Only if you're staying. She gestured to the seat. I haven't decided. Daniel sat. Hands folded, polite. You strike me as someone who decides before admitting it. I used to, she said. Now I wait for the world to decide first. Daniel studied her face, not intrusively but with interest. Last night, are you all right? Yes, she said. Then softer. No, I don't know.